Hey everyone, imagine walking into a temple deep in the Egyptian desert and being told you're not just a king, you're the son of a god. Or picture a young man, barely out of his teens, conquering the largest empire the world had ever seen and never losing a single battle. That's Alexander the Great, a name that echoes across centuries, not just as a conqueror, but as a transformative force who reshaped the ancient world. Today, we're diving deep into the extraordinary life, unparalleled campaigns, and complex legacy of Alexander III of Macedon. Born in 356 BCE in Pella, Macedonia, Alexander's path was set early. His father, Philip II, was a brilliant military strategist who unified the Greek city-states and built a formidable army through the League of Corinth, essentially handing Alexander a powerful platform for his future ambitions. His mother, Olympias, also significantly shaped him, telling him he was descended from gods and fostering his sense of divine destiny. This early belief in his divine lineage would profoundly influence his self-perception and his later actions. From ages 13 to 16, Alexander received an unparalleled education from none other than the renowned philosopher Aristotle. Aristotle taught him a vast array of subjects, including ethics, politics, medicine, and poetry, instilling a deep respect for Homer's Iliad, which Alexander reportedly carried throughout his campaigns, and which inspired him to take Achilles as a heroic role model. This rigorous intellectual training shaped his strategic mind and lifelong interest in various sciences. Even as a boy, Alexander showed his remarkable character. At just 12, he famously tamed Bucephalus, a magnificent but wild stallion that no one else could manage. Philip II had been offered the horse for the enormous sum of 13 talents, but it was Alexander who recognized the horse was afraid of its own shadow. By speaking soothingly and turning the horse toward the sun, Alexander successfully subdued it. Philip II, witnessing this feat, prophetically declared that Macedonia would not be large enough for Alexander's ambitions. Bucephalus became Alexander's beloved steed, accompanying him through many battles, a testament to Alexander's unique insight and deep connection, even naming a city after the horse upon its death in India around 326 BC. When Philip II was tragically assassinated in October 336 BC, the 20-year-old Alexander swiftly claimed the Macedonian throne. Despite lingering ambiguities around Philip's death, which even hinted at Alexander's possible involvement, though he was formally acquitted, Alexander's immediate actions were decisive. He ruthlessly eliminated rivals and swiftly quashed rebellions to secure his position. A stark demonstration of his calculated ruthlessness came with his response to the rebellion in Thebes in 335 BC. After crushing the uprising, Alexander ordered the city to be razed to the ground, with its entire population sold into slavery, sparing only temples and the house of the poet Pindar. This severe act wasn't just vengeance. It was a calculated move to establish dominance and deter any further challenges, setting a clear precedent for the consequences of defiance and ensuring compliance from other Greek city-states. Alexander's military genius is widely recognized. He maintained an undefeated record despite frequently facing numerically superior forces. His success stemmed from his intelligent use of terrain, the highly effective Macedonian phalanx with its formidable 20-foot sarissas, and his bold tactical innovations like the hammer and anvil tactic, perfected by his father. He was also remarkably flexible, adapting his forces, such as opening ranks to envelop the elephant corps in India, demonstrating his ability to improvise. What truly set Alexander apart was the fierce loyalty he commanded from his troops. He didn't just command from afar. He personally led charges, ate the same food, and endured the same hardships as his men. A notable incident in the Gedrosian Desert in 325 BC illustrates this powerfully. During a harrowing march through extreme heat and severe water scarcity, a small amount of precious water was found and offered to Alexander. But instead of drinking it, Alexander poured it on the ground, refusing to partake when his soldiers had none. This act, as described in the sources, raised morale more than any speech could. His campaign against the Persian Empire began with the Battle of the Granicus, 334 BCE, where he launched a surprise attack that opened the way into Asia Minor, nearly losing his life but securing a decisive victory. This was followed by the Battle of Issus, 333 BCE, where he faced Persian King Darius III. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Alexander's direct assault caused Darius to panic and flee, leaving behind his family. Remarkably, Alexander treated Darius's captured family, his mother Sisygambes, wife Statira, and daughters, with great dignity and respect. When Darius's mother mistakenly bowed to Alexander's companion Hephaestion, Alexander gently corrected her, saying, "You were not mistaken, mother. He too is Alexander," a gesture that highlighted his magnanimity and respect for royalty. This was seen not just as mercy, but as political wisdom, winning favor among the Persian nobility. However, Alexander's mercy had its limits. The Siege of Tyre, 332 BCE, was a grueling 7-month ordeal where Alexander constructed a kilometer-long causeway to the island city, an extraordinary feat of engineering, demonstrating his exceptional skill in siege warfare. After the city's fall, the Macedonian soldiers, frustrated by the prolonged resistance, retaliated brutally, slaughtering 8,000 Tyrians and selling 30,000 into slavery. The climax of his Persian campaign was the Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BCE, the decisive victory against Darius III in Mesopotamia that led to Darius's final flight and the collapse of the Achaemenid Empire. Alexander's entry into Egypt in 332 BC marked a stark contrast to his brutal sieges. He was welcomed as a liberator from Persian rule and quickly secured the loyalty of the Egyptian populace by respecting their customs and appearing in traditional Egyptian regalia. He then founded Alexandria in April 331 BC, personally designing its layout. This city was intended to be a vital Hellenistic center, embodying Alexander's long-term vision of a new, interconnected world shaped by Greek culture and commerce. A pivotal moment for Alexander was his perilous journey to the Oracle of Ammonius at Siwa Oasis in January 331 BC. This journey was reportedly marked by divine interventions, such as sudden rainstorms and guiding ravens or snakes, which further reinforced Alexander's belief in his divine mission. There he was greeted as Son of God, a title that profoundly affected him and solidified his belief in his divine status and paternity. While deeply personal, this proclamation also served a strategic political purpose, legitimizing his authority to Egyptians who traditionally viewed pharaohs as divine. This move, however, was likely a source of friction with his Macedonian troops, who were less inclined to deify a living ruler. Alexander's personal life was intertwined with his dynastic ambitions. His most well-known marriage was to Roxana, the daughter of a Bactrian chief, around 327 BC. Their union was reportedly a love match, but it also served a political aim, securing loyalty in a newly conquered region and promoting cultural fusion. He later married Statira, Darius III's daughter, and Persides, daughters of Persian kings, at the mass Susa weddings in 324 BC, a deliberate policy to blend Macedonian and Persian cultures. However, Alexander's grand vision of a unified empire faced internal challenges. His policies of Persianization, such as encouraging intermarriage, adopting Persian court customs, and even attempting to introduce proskynesis, Persian obeisance, led to significant discord and resentment among his Macedonian troops. The Opus Mutiny in 324 BC, sparked by Alexander's proposal to integrate more Persian soldiers, was a culmination of years of Macedonian grievances, highlighting the limits of top-down cultural imposition. Upon his death in 323 BC, Alexander left no clear successor, creating a massive power vacuum. His only legitimate son, Alexander IV, born posthumously to Roxana, along with his alleged illegitimate son Heracles, were both tragically murdered by Alexander's own generals, the Diadochi, to eliminate any claims to the throne. Roxana herself contributed to this tragic outcome, ordering the murder of Statira and possibly Persides to secure her son's position as sole heir. This illustrates the inherent instability of an empire built primarily on one individual's charisma, rather than a robust institutional framework. Alexander's relentless pursuit of conquest, came with immense human cost. The harrowing return march through the Gedrosian Desert in 325 BC resulted in immense suffering and significant casualties due to extreme heat, water scarcity, and flash floods. Many animals perished, and sick or exhausted men had to be left behind. Furthermore, while he could be a liberator, his treatment of cities that resisted fiercely, like Thebes and Tyre, involved mass slaughter and enslavement. Slavery was a constant, pragmatic tool of control in his empire, demonstrating a calculated ruthlessness that prioritized control and resource acquisition. Alexander faced numerous health challenges, from a severe chest injury during the Malian campaign in India to a near-fatal case of pneumonia in Cilicia. Medical knowledge in his era was rudimentary, a blend of empirical observation and traditional practices. He had trusted physicians, but they had limited tools. Alexander finally died in Babylon in June 323 BC, at just 32 years old. His final illness, characterized by a high fever and abdominal pain over 11 days, remains one of history's greatest mysteries. While ancient sources hinted at poisoning, modern theories suggest typhoid fever, malaria, or even Guillain-Barré syndrome. Could modern medicine have saved him? Quite possibly, with antibiotics or advanced supportive care for an infection or inflammation. But in 323 BCE, medicine lacked the tools, and his physicians had limited options. After his death, Alexander's vast empire immediately fragmented. His generals, known as the Diadochi, plunged into a series of civil wars, the Wars of the Diadochi, lasting over 2 decades. By 275 BC, his once unified empire was divided into 3 major Hellenistic kingdoms: the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, the Seleucid Empire in the east, and the Antigonid kingdom in Macedon. Ultimately, Alexander the Great's most enduring legacy is not the longevity of his empire, but the profound Hellenization and cultural diffusion he catalyzed. He founded numerous cities, most notably Alexandria in Egypt, which became vibrant intellectual hubs. The widespread adoption of Koine Greek as a lingua franca, the blending of Greek and Eastern art, philosophy, and science, created a unique cultural network that profoundly influenced the Roman Empire and laid foundational elements for Western civilization. Alexander remains a benchmark for military leaders and a captivating, complex figure whose story continues to fascinate and inform us today.